folks, Jason here again, Blue Label Bastards Wargaming, and I hope you guys are having a great week. It is Monday, January 18th, so I had a bit of free time today. It is a national holiday here in the United States, celebrating the life and works of Martin Luther King. In addition to other things, that means it's a federal holiday, which as a government employee means I had the day off. So I was fortunate enough to be able to do a commemorative race this morning, which is why I'm in running gear still. On a very chilly Washington, D.C. morning, 17 degrees when I ran the race. It is Fahrenheit, not Celsius, if only if it were Celsius. So that was a chilly run, and so I got a chance to kind of get a bunch of work out of the way after having a really good weekend. And I've got a break right now to do a little bit of wargaming and wargaming chatting. So I'm going to try to make 2 videos, at least tonight, talking a bit about asking a question. And I haven't come up with a title yet for this video as I record this, but it'll be kind of inflammatory to try to get some attention, because I think the topics, if this were Warhammer or Age of Sigmar or some other very popular video topic, I'd probably get a lot more. Probably not so much with this particular question, but who knows. So essentially it boils down to, as I mentioned in my previous update, long overdue, that I was looking to kind of expand my focus, but also hone it a bit on a couple of different areas based on the availability of free time that I have right now to wargame, and kind of what my focus areas are, my interests are, and to try to make some real progress on things so you can look down and say, yes, I accomplished this stuff. There's nothing better, I think everybody will agree, than having a table full of miniatures that are finished. You can use, you can put away and display, you can just take pictures of and make videos about, versus having a table of stuff that are primered or not even painted that just sit there and stare at you and make you feel guilty. So I've kind of honed my interest down for a bit to 2 areas, as the title suggests. One will be Beyond the Gates of Antares. As I mentioned, I had the starter set, and the nice thing about that, so it comes with 2 factions. The Gar, I think, have 6 battle suits, and the other side, and I'm going to look because I forget the name, and I still don't know the name. The other folks in the battle, or in the starter set, have about 20 figures, and those are very doable. That is not a lot of models to paint. I think Beyond the Gates of Antares is intended to be a larger larger game, an army scale game. We want to call it a company sized. We can talk about order battle sizes and things. I don't think that's necessarily appropriate for this. But anyways, the starter set allows people to get started with the game quickly. So with a smaller size force than the game might be optimized for, but you can at least get it done. For me, practically, that means I can have 2 starter armies finished and painted and everything relatively quickly, even at my glacial molasses-like painting speed, and have it ready in case I can find somebody to play it with, whether that's my son or somebody else. And it'll be just nice to have a project checked off. The other thing, the title suggests, is Hail Caesar, and specifically 6mm Hail Caesar. I mentioned before, and I'll do an unboxing on this, I bought 2 armies from Bacchus Miniatures in the UK, specifically, at least, pulled together by Rick Priestley for, with the Hail Caesar rule set in mind, essentially for Punic War engagements. So one is the Carthaginians, and one are the Imperial Romans. Those are in a box, and I look forward to getting those out. Now, in some ways they're much more, they're faster to paint, but there's a lot of them. And I think for me it'll kind of stretch those painting and modeling muscles a bit. I've said before that I like to agonize over details on models that don't really deserve it, because there's so many of them, or they're not centerpiece models. This one you literally can't agonize, because to stick a guy's about this big, and there's 5 of them or 10 of them on there, and they're about that tall, and there's just not that much detail. So this will be a new journey for me. That sounds really cliche. You know what I mean. It'll be something new. That'll involve me making a board of some sort. And I was on the Hail Caesar forums today, posting a couple questions on where's the best place to find ideas for terrain. Do I just use a battle mat, which might be the way to go. And then I'll just have a battle mat to start with, and then if I really get into it, I'll make a dedicated board. Where do you go for terrain, or for buildings and scenery and things like that? I've got a bunch of 28mm stuff, but obviously that doesn't work. So I kind of put feelers out there, picked up a couple things. I'll do unboxings and kind of reviews of all of those. So those are the 2 projects. The good thing with Beyond the Gates of Antares is I can use a lot of my Warhammer stuff, 40k stuff, that's been sitting in a box for a long time. And then if I want to go to other places, kind of Infinity-like stuff, or just build terrain on my own, I can do that, and that's pretty easy to find. 28mm is not hard to find. 6mm is. So, but my question to the community is, which should I start with first? I'm leaning toward Beyond the Gates of Antares because I can knock things out quickly. I can do a unit of battle suits. I've already got some ideas. I haven't fully read into the background and fluff. I like the Gar right now, I think. I don't like the, was it the Forsaken? The Gar that lose their battle suits and then look like a bunch of goblins running around. Not quite so much yet. But I like the idea of having these old battle suits that have been around forever. So, for those of you who have seen my other videos, for Bolt Action, that I have really enjoyed doing vehicles and doing a lot of heavy weathering and chipping. That's what I'm thinking I'm going to try doing. I have to see if it's kind of fluff-worthy, but even if it's not, I might do it anyways. Is on the battle suits, because the Gar are so old, this technology is so old, kind of wanting to have a very weathered, battle-damaged, beaten force of Gar that don't care as much about how their suits look, or are just willing to get stuck in just for kind of bloodlust, the glory of victory, take no prisoners. Whether or not it fits the fluff, I might just want to do it anyways, because again, this is a modeling project. I have to enjoy it. Now I've looked at the box, and I don't know if I'm going to do an unboxing. People want me to do an unboxing and kind of the assembly and things. I looked at the size, and they're just not very big models, so you can't do a lot of stuff on it. But I'd like to play around with that a bit and have rust and oil and grease and all of the AK interactive stuff and weathering powders and things to kind of show that these guys have been around for a long time. You see it with 40K some too, or other things. They can be functioning, but if the force or these particular Gar view cosmetic damage as something that is to be, it's a badge of honor. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. I need to spend some time with the rulebook, which I plan to do tonight, kind of read through this and see if this makes sense. Hoping it does. The other part of the starter set, these guys look very clean and crisp, and so I might get the airbrush out and do maybe brighter colors, but still have them be dirty. I don't like... Anybody who's been to a war zone, I have, knows that things don't stay clean for very long. So you can have the prettiest uniforms out there, or armor in this case, or drones or whatever, but it's going to get dirty, and it's going to get scratched up, and it's going to get blood on it and other stuff. And so even if I have the notion, like I kind of did with my Imperial Fists, which, as far as Space Marines go, having a bright yellow paint scheme is about as crisp and clean as you can get, but I still weathered them up some, so I might do that with these guys. But if I did Beyond the Gates of Antares, I'd probably start with the Gar first, because there's 6 of them to paint. And I could play around with the weathering and stuff. They're fairly posable, so I could do cute stuff with the bases. and just be able to have those guys done. So that's what I'm thinking right now. If, however, people really want to see the Hail Caesar things, I can spend more time on that. I will probably do a little bit of both. Beyond the Gates of Antares is just something that's nice to be checked off. So that's my goal. That's what my way ahead, I guess, is. But I'd be open to your thoughts, or would welcome your thoughts, certainly. If there's something that people really want to see, or if they have thoughts, or if they think I'm off my rocker for wanting to have battle-damaged Gar, and there's an obvious reason why that's not the case, I'm all ears. On the Hail Caesar front, I'm more interested in Hail Caesar because I'm a history nerd, and that is going to take a lot more work, though. And we'll go into the reasons why when I do the unboxing of the Bacchus miniatures, which probably won't be tonight. I'm going to do another video on the dreaded monetization, which should be, I will record right after I'm finished with this, and why I've decided to do that, and why I don't think it's really that big of a deal. People seem to spend a lot of time talking about it, how it's this thing. Maybe it's the capitalist in me that thinks it's not that bad. Besides, this guy ain't getting rich off of the 50 to 100 or a couple hundred views he gets off of his videos. But I am not going to steal the thunder from my later video, because I want you to watch it. And so that's the way ahead. So welcome your comments. If you think there's other things I should be doing, if you're, again, this is supposed to be an interactive forum to exchange videos back and forth, even if you don't make videos of your own. But this is kind of a way for us to reach out and talk about what we're doing and build a bit of community. So with that, I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you had a great Monday. If you're in the U.S., I hope you had a great Martin Luther King Day. Remember what the man did and why he did it, as I did this morning. If you went for a run today like I did, I hope you warmed up. It took me a while because it was rather chilly outside. And so have a great week, and happy wargaming.